This new Reacher character got his breakout role over 40 years ago in a teen comedy classic. Prime Video's hit Reacher is in the middle of its third season. As with the previous seasons, the new outing brings a host of new main characters. One of these is rug importer Zachary Beck, who offers Reacher a job after he saves Beck's son Richard. Beck is played by Anthony Michael Hall, who's enjoyed a nearly 40-year career in the industry. That's right, Gen X readers, the 1980s were 4 decades ago. Take a minute to process that if you need to. Hall was one of that decade's biggest teen stars, with appearances in 16 Candles, The Breakfast Club, and Weird Science. He was a frequent collaborator with John Hughes, the king of 80s coming-of-age teen comedies. That partnership set Hall up for lifelong success, which is still an impressive feat in today's industry. Of those early parts, 16 Candles really gave Hall his breakout role. He followed that up with a one-season stint on Saturday Night Live and performances in titles like Out of Bounds, Edward Scissorhands, Johnny Be Good, 6 Degrees of Separation, and Pirates of Silicon Valley. The latter title earned Hall praise for his performance as Bill Gates. But let's take a look at 16 Candles and how it set up the rest of Hall's career. Anthony Michael Hall's 16 Candles breakthrough. While 16 Candles was Hall's breakout, it was not his debut. After a bit part in 1982's Six Pack, Hall was the inaugural Rusty Griswold in 1983's National Lampoon's Vacation. Hall only played Rusty in that first film, as the franchise became notorious for recasting the Griswold children in every movie with no attention to age or looks. Other actors who inhabited the Rusty role included Jason Lively, Ethan Embry, Johnny Galecki, and Ed Helms. But it was there that Vacation screenwriter John Hughes first noticed Hall. He subsequently cast him in 16 Candles just 1 year later. The film follows, spoiler warning, Sam Baker Molly Ringwald as she celebrates her 16th birthday. Sam has a crush on senior Jake Ryan Michael Schofling, and freshman Ted Hall has a crush on Sam. Throughout the movie, Sam must deal with her family forgetting her birthday while attempting to get Jake to notice her. Jake does have a thing for Sam, but he's already in a relationship with fellow student Caroline Haviland Morris. The film discusses several topics common among teenagers at the time, such as school, family life, dating, partying, and more. Today, the movie is regarded as one of the best teenage comedy films and one of Hughes's best productions. This is despite multiple elements not exactly aging the best. Long Duck Dong, anyone? The cast performance was praised, and Hall won the Young Artist Award for Best Young Actor in a Motion Picture in December 1984. Ringwald won the Best Young Actress that same year, marking the only time in the history of those awards that the Young Actor and Actress winners were from the same film. Today, 16 Candles is widely regarded as the breakout hit that gave Hall his rising star status in the industry. It also set him up with Hughes, and the two would go on for several more collaborations. The year after 16 Candles, Hughes cast Hall in The Breakfast Club. He played Brian Johnson, the brain who received Saturday detention alongside several other classmates. The Breakfast Club also starred Emilio Estevez, Eli Sheedy, Judd Nelson, Paul Gleason, and Hall's 16 Candles co-star Molly Ringwald. It received similar rave reviews and is often cited as another example of the textbook 80s teen film. 1985 also brought Hall's first leading role with Hughes's Weird Science. He was Gary Wallace, a teenage nerd who tries to create a robotic girlfriend with best friend Wyatt Donnelly Elon Mitchell-Smith. The world of Reacher just got a nostalgic upgrade, and if you thought the new character looked familiar, you're not imagining things. In a twist that has fans of both high-octane crime dramas and classic teen comedies buzzing, the latest addition to the Reacher cast is none other than an actor who made his breakout over 4 decades ago in one of the most beloved teen films of the 1980s. Enter Robert Romanus. If that name doesn't instantly ring a bell, his most iconic role surely will. Mike Damone, the slick-talking ticket scalper from the 1982 coming-of-age comedy Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Armed with a trench coat full of concert passes, some questionable romantic advice, and an overinflated sense of cool, Damone became an indelible figure in 80s pop culture, and Romanus, a then 26-year-old actor with a killer smirk and scene-stealing timing, carved his place into cinematic history. Now, over 40 years later, Romanus resurfaces in an entirely different role, trading in the high school hallways of Ridgemont for the gritty streets that Jack Reacher patrols. In Season 3 of Reacher, he portrays Charles Chaz Donnelly, a retired intelligence analyst whose quiet life in upstate New York gets violently upended when Reacher comes knocking. Donnelly is grizzled, wary, and brilliant in the way that only those who've spent decades decoding secrets can be. And while he might not be cracking jokes about Earth, wind, and fire concert tickets anymore, he's got a new kind of gravitas that makes him a perfect foil and occasional ally for Alan Ritchson's towering Reacher. For longtime fans, the casting is more than just a stunt. It's a full circle moment. Back in 1982, Romanus was part of a legendary ensemble that included a young Sean Penn, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Judge Reinhold, and Phoebe Cates. Fast Times at Ridgemont High, directed by Amy Heckerling and written by a then-unknown Cameron Crowe, was more than just a teenage romp. It was a touchstone for a generation, capturing the awkwardness, freedom, and hormonal chaos of adolescence with an honesty that still resonates. Romanus's Damone wasn't exactly the hero. He was a bit of a jerk, really, but he was compelling, memorable, and real. His scenes with Brian Backer's painfully shy Mark Ratner revealed a layered dynamic, the overconfident friend who masks his insecurities with swagger. And that infamous scene with Jennifer Jason Leigh? It might have been one of the first times teen sex was shown with such stark realism in a mainstream movie. But after Fast Times, Romanus didn't skyrocket to stardom like some of his castmates. He worked steadily, popping up in guest roles on TV series like The Facts of Life, 21 Jump Street, and Chips, as well as taking smaller parts in indie films, but he never quite escaped Damone's shadow. He even leaned into it, reprising variations of the fast-talking hustler in commercials and conventions. Now, Reacher gives him a chance to redefine that legacy. Showrunner Nick Santora, in an interview earlier this year, revealed that Romanus wasn't an obvious pick, but that's what made it exciting. "We were looking for someone who could bring real history to the role," he explained. "Someone who looked like they'd lived a life, someone with layers." When Robert came in, he brought this quiet intensity that immediately hooked us. And when we realized who he was, yeah, it was a cool moment. For Romanus, the role is more than just a comeback. It's a reintroduction. "I never really left," he said in a recent interview with Entertainment Weekly. "I've been around. But I get it. Damone was a big shadow to step out of. With Chaz, I'm doing something new. He's not the loudest guy in the room, but he's got depth. Pain. Regret. That stuff's fun to play." Fans of Reacher have already taken to the character, praising Romanus's performance as understated but magnetic and calling him the sleeper hit of the season. On Reddit and Twitter, comparisons are flying from Damone to Donnelly, from Fast Times to Hard Times. What's perhaps most striking is how Reacher is beginning to develop a quiet tradition of casting familiar but underutilized actors from the past. In Season 1, it was Bruce McGill Animal House, and now Romanus adds another thread of vintage Hollywood to the show's fabric. And hey, if there's ever a scene where Donnelly has to negotiate access to a top-secret facility, we wouldn't be mad if he flashes that old-school smirk and says, "Look, I got Van Halen backstage passes." Front row. From Fast Times to Dangerous Times, Robert Romanus is proof that good characters and great actors never really go out of style. Sometimes, they just wait for the right moment to step back into the spotlight. Want to add an image caption, quote, or bio section at the end?